that you're not worthy? What if you think that you're not good enough? What if you think that you can't get that promotion at work or get at the job or get into the university or ask that person out to go out on a date? You become what you think about most of the time. So when it comes to this, and I don't even know if it's new, you see people even like Tony Robbins. He started out in the 80s, the 1980s.
Awekenge, this is Mental Mythos, hosted by Asekho Toto. So how are you doing?
Yeah. I'm doing good. I'm doing well. I appreciate the invitation to do this. Been looking forward to it.
Pleasure's all mine, and I really interested in the conversation in terms of hypnotherapy and mindset in interlinking those things. And also, I once had a guest whereas we spoke about hypnotherapy, and whereas she had a different, I would say, practice in a way of working in a way of the inner child, seeing it as the inner child, as the inner child in a way. So I'm interested in how your perspective on it, your practice, how it
Sure.
is. So again,
yeah, I'll just follow your lead. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm game.
Thank you so much. And again, I just wanna I just want to say thank you so much for agreeing on doing this. I really appreciate it. And also, thank you so much. So, mindset coaching, in terms of something that is very different on my side, because I'm used to I'm in South Africa, here in National University, we have a success coach. Whereas I would say that it's in a way of helping you, guiding you in terms of reaching success. And mindset coach is quite different. It's a word that's new to me in a way. So can you explain the core principles behind mindset coaching?
Yeah, it's the idea that limiting beliefs, in that you have those thoughts circulating in your mind that you're not good enough, or that you can't do it, or that other people are better than you, or why even try? And these thoughts that kind of ruminate in your mind, that circulate in your mind, will prevent you from taking action and moving forward in your life, whether that's with your career, whether that's with athletics, if you're a musician or an actor, even just in the relationships in your life, maybe even to the point of asking somebody out, oh, well, they won't like me. They'll think I'm an idiot or a jerk. So you don't even make give the opportunity to even go talk to somebody else to create a friendship or even a romantic relationship. So in terms of like mindset coaching, it's kind of a fancy term that's come out in the last maybe decade or so. But really, it even goes back to a lot of the work that was being done by the Dale Carnegie back in the 50s. And he had this record that came out. Was it Dale Carnegie? But he had the record, the first million-selling record that, at least in the United States, that was The Strangest Secret. And The Strangest Secret ended up being that you become what you think about most of the time. And so the idea is, well, what if you think that you're not good enough? What if you think that you can't get that promotion at work or get at the job or get into the university or ask that person out to go out on a date? You become what you think about most of the time. So when it comes to this, and I don't even know if it's new, you see people even like Tony Robbins. He started out in the 80s, the 1980s. That big book of his that came out, Awaken the Giant Within, that really put him on the map, came out, I think, in the late 1980s, early 1990s. But Tony Robbins, he's been doing this work for 40 years. And so the idea is, in terms of mindset, if you become what you think about most of the time, what are you thinking about? And in the work I do around hypnotherapy, it's not so much the kind of entertainment side of things that you see maybe in comedy clubs or like in big showrooms like in Las Vegas or Macau or wherever one goes, where you're entertaining people and you hypnotize them to sing like Elvis Presley or dance like Michael Jackson or something. Therapeutic hypnosis works with that mindset, in that where did these ideas that you're not good enough come from? that you're not worthy, that you can't do something. Who told you that? Where does it come from? Why do you keep repeating this phrase in your mind over and over again? Because again, it's like what you do most, you get better at. What you practice over and over again, you get better at. We know this from practicing the piano or practicing the guitar or practicing martial arts or practicing a foreign language or practicing riding a bicycle or something. What you do, what you practice most, you get better at. And so what if you're practicing anxiety? What if you're practicing, telling yourself that you're not good enough? So in terms of the mindset coach, what this kind of new, and maybe it's not even new, but what this helps people do is release those limiting beliefs and start creating the beliefs that will create the confidence and the self-esteem and the self-worth to actually do what it is you want to do so you can create your best life ever. There's kind of the gray line between what is hypnotherapy, what is neuro-linguistic programming, what is psychotherapy, what is sports psychology? Because again, if let's look at sports real quick. If like say for swimming, Michael Phelps, the most medaled Olympian in history. He has something like 28 gold medals for swimming. If you're a swimmer and you're in competition and you're on that little diving platform ready to start the event, and you look over and Michael Phelps is next to you, ready to swim next to you, what's that going to do to your confidence? And maybe is that enough to like lower your confidence to, oh my God, Michael Phelps is in this race? Are you kidding me? Is that enough to lower your confidence in yourself that you're going to come in 5th place or 6th place? And so even in the work we do is like there's we call a lot of different things. I think mindset coach is just the newest trendy kind of word. But really what it's about is working with those thoughts in your head. And if they're negative to the point of being detrimental to your life in terms of moving forward, what's the point of working out? Nobody's going to love me anyway. So now you're not going to go to the gym. You're not going to go out. You're not going to get healthy. And so it's working with those thoughts that prevent us from creating our best life ever. I think that's kind of a long answer to maybe a short question. But
definitely. I feel like in a way there's a lot that you mentioned, and also practicing something makes you better at that. I agree with you in that, because in a perspective of, for instance, I'm making an example of myself. Being a podcast host for the last 4 years, I've been doing this for the 4 years. In terms of doing one thing. At some point, I was in the business training, whereas I mentioned that I am doing podcasts in terms of mental health. And someone asked the fact that what's the use of doing podcasts in terms of talking about a conversation, the one conversation in terms of mental health in 100 episodes. And in a way, it goes back to the mindset in terms of, as you've said, if you practice, let's say, if you have that mindset, no, mental health is not important, you just need to have that one conversation and move on, goes to that thing. As if you keep practicing on that, you'll never be being able to learn something in terms of that certain conversation. It's something that it was interesting. And my follow-up question is the fact that what is the difference between mindset coaching and traditional therapy? The reason why I'm asking this thing is the fact that, according to my knowledge, coaching focuses on the future, and therapy goes deep in terms of the past. So what is the initial difference? And the way that you were explaining it, in a way, I saw it as something that they both have the same goal in terms of you feel better in terms of mindset.
Yeah, that was a great way to explain it. And there is a lot of overlay. There's doing a lot of the same things, but I think you hit it right on the head, especially with therapeutic hypnosis. A lot of people who come to a hypnotherapist, they're looking for some relief from pain or hurt or trauma, or maybe even a bad habit. Like famously, hypnotherapy works great for smoking cessation, or if you want to quit smoking, or weight loss and things like that. But really, even those issues of overeating or smoking, those are self-soothing issues, trying to make yourself feel better by eating or by taking a cigarette or maybe a drink or whatever it is. And so you're trying to soothe yourself from some hurt or some pain. And so I think you nailed it on the head when you said hypnotherapy, it does work with a lot of the issues that we've encountered in the past. And whether that happened yesterday or last month or last year or 40 years ago, the subconscious mind will hold on to that hurt and pain because it doesn't want to experience it again. But you're the one who's holding on to it. So you're allowed to, deal with the emotions that come up in an appropriate way. And so when people are feeling that anxiety or that anger or that stress or that fear or that worry or that hurt or that pain or that tension, that pressure, whatever you want to call it, they get to a point where it's like, I just don't want to feel like this anymore. So whether they're going to a talk therapist or maybe a hypnotherapist, they want to deal with that past. And hypnotherapy works really well with the subconscious mind and in how the mind stores that information and that feeling state related to that past hurt and pain. And you're allowed to do something about it. You're the one who's holding on to the information. You're the one who's creating the hurt and pain. So you're the one who can do something about it. So that's just kind of a quick little sum up of hypnotherapy. And in terms of what you were saying about mind coaching, that's looking towards the future. I think that's a great way of looking at it because when, I think we both look at coaching in terms of athletics, you're always going to have a coach. You always want that second pair of eyes to help you perform better, to give you the advice on how to, depending on what the event is, to run that course in a more efficient way so you can win. You want that second pair of eyes. You want that advice from a knowledgeable person. So that person is going to stay with you. And so in terms of, some people have business coaches, so to help them with business or marketing, of course, athletics, maybe even musician. I mean, Pavarotti, considered one of the greatest opera singers of all time, went to a vocal coach every year. Because of course, as you get older, your voice is going to change. His weight fluctuated a lot. And so that's going to change how he sings as well. So every year he went to a vocal coach, even though he was considered the greatest cello player ever. Even famously, Neil Peart, the drummer from the rock band Rush, went to a drumming coach at the height of his fame and powers as a drummer, just to change up his drumming style. So we can all use coaching in different ways. And in terms of the past, if you want to deal with those limiting beliefs, the hurt and pain, the anxiety, the trauma, hypnotherapy may work really well for that in terms of creating your best life and how to move forward, whether, again, it's business or relationships or sports or music or whatever it is you're doing. Having a coach. And especially if those thoughts come up, maybe I'm not good enough to move forward like this. Coach is going to help you with that to move forward. And so I think you hit it right on the head that there's a lot of overlap. Certainly mind coaching can help with what's happened in the past. Certainly hypnotherapy can help focus your attention on the future and how to create that best life ever. But it's a great way of describing it, I think.
And through the conversation, I just want to go into this thing that you said in terms of part of your services are to help people on negative emotions and trauma, test anxiety, fears, and phobia. I just want to underline the test anxiety. The reason why I'm bringing that up, if you remember on my email, on my message on Patchmatch, I said that I included that I'm a student. So it's exam time, and definitely there are so many anxieties. And what is your process of you helping, let's say a student comes to you in terms of in a setting of it's either between mindset or hypnotherapy? What is your process towards that? How do you help people?
Let's work with you right now. And if somebody's listening to this and they want to follow along, they can. Of course, if you're driving a car, if you're supervising the kids around the swimming pool, maybe do this process later. But just working with you, you're talking about test anxiety, your student exams are coming up. Just closing your eyes real quick. And I want you to notice where you feel that anxiety. There's a place in your body where that feeling state originates, where you hold on to that anxiety, that stress, that overwhelm, that worry, that tension, that pressure. And I want you to literally take your hand. I don't want you to point to where you feel it in your body, because if you can point to it, you can reveal it. If you reveal it, you can heal it. And so I want you to point to where you feel that anxiety in your body. Literally take your hand and point so I understand where it is. Right there in the chest. 0 to 10. 0 being the most peaceful you've ever felt. 10 being the most anxious, panicked, afraid you've ever felt. Where would you rate this anxiety right now, 0 to 10?
I would probably 8.
An 8. Okay. That anxiety, that 8-level anxiety you're feeling in your chest, there's a certain color to that anxiety. What color is it?
I'm thinking of orange, between orange and red.
Yeah, that's right. It's orange. Like an orange is red. Here's what I want you to do. I literally want you to do this. I want you to reach in and pull out all that orange-red energy. I literally want you to reach in and pull it out and start pulling it out. And I know this seems silly, I know this seems ridiculous, but I want you to just trust and play with the process here. I want you to pull out all that orange energy using both of your hands. I literally want you to pull it out, but pretend you're doing it. Yeah, I want you to pretend that you're doing it. Just pretend. Just pretend you're pulling out all that orange energy and pulling out, and it's all out in front of you. And make sure you get all of it, because sometimes that stuff likes to hide. Just pull it out, pull it out, pull it out, and just keep on going until I've done this process with people and they've pulled that negative energy out for 5 minutes. So we got plenty of time. I've seen podcasts that go on for 6 hours. So we got lots of time. So keep going. Just pull it out. And if it's starting to like maybe move up to your shoulders or down into your abdomen or up into your neck, just keep pulling it out. Just trying to escape, keep pulling it. And say, you're doing it perfectly. Doing it exactly right. Perfect. You're doing it exactly right. Keep pulling. Exactly right.
It's funny, my arms are getting tired in a way.
Yeah. But you're doing it, and you're doing it. Yes, keep pulling it. Sometimes we realize we've been holding on to that stress for a really long time, and there's a lot of it. And whether it's stress of the day, stress of the week, stress from 20 years ago, just keep pulling it out, doing it perfectly. All of it, every single ounce of it, bit by bit, piece by piece, element by element, by putting physical action into this and literally using your body to help with the healing. You supersize this. There's healing with just using the mind, but imagine putting the mind and body together into a healing and how much deeper it can go. This is a little bit what's different between maybe talk therapy and therapeutic hypnosis. Is that, why let's talk about your anxiety. Let's do something about it. Let's pull it all out of your body. Oh, perfect. Yeah, keep going. I'm making sure you get it all, especially all the hidden bits and pieces. That stuff likes to hide. That's why there's probably a lot of it. It's been hiding for a long time. Keep pulling all that negative energy.
How do I know that I've pulled it all out?
Your intuition will tell you when you're done. And again, like I told you, I've had people pull for 5 minutes, because we have a tendency to hold on because we don't realize we're allowed to let it go. So just let it go. People grip onto a pen with their hand very tightly, and after a while they hold on to that pen so tightly for so long that it starts feeling familiar to them. Then it starts feeling so familiar to them, it starts feeling comfortable. There you go. Comfortably miserable. Now, I want you to notice something. Keeping your eyes closed. All that negative energy out in front of you. Did the color change or did it stay the same?
Actually, it changed in a way.
That's right. See, look, you're already changing it. Here's what I want you to do with your imagination. Just pretend that you put a black frame around all that negative energy that's out in front of you. You're already changed. Put a black frame around so you know how big it is. So it's like kind of contained in a box maybe. But put a black frame around it so it's all contained. And those old TV sets maybe that people had way back in the 70s and 80s used to have dials and switches on them instead of just a remote control. I want you to reach out and grab the dial for the brightness and start turning it to the right. So all that energy within that black frame whites out. So it turns completely white, a very neutral, calm color. Make all the energy within that black frame white. And maybe it's turning more neutral, turning to grayish, and then maybe turning to white. And notice how different it all looks and feels now. And now here's what I want to do. I literally want you to do this. I want you to grab the sides of that black frame, and I want you to start shrinking it down. I want you to reach out, grab that black frame, and start shrinking it down, left, right, top, and bottom. Shrink it down to the size of a stamp, maybe the size of a marble, a little pebble. Shrink it down, shrink it down, shrink it down, shrink it down until you can grab it in the fist of your dominant hand. When it's so small that you can grab it in the fist of your dominant hand, grab it in the fist of your dominant hand, and I want you to lift it up over your head. I want you to throw it behind you. I want you to throw it behind you to the end of the ever-expanding universe, to the beyond the horizon. Throw it behind you so it'll never come back. Secure it back there. You know the sound a hammer makes. Nail it back there, put it in a safe and break off the lock. Put it back there, beyond the horizon, to the end of the ever-expanding universe. That's right. When it's back there forever, when you know it can never come back, when you know that that's true, when you know that no one, not even you, can bring it back, that energy back, that feeling state back ever again, when you know it can never go back to the way it was, just try to bring it back and notice what happens instead. Okay. And here's what's going to happen now. Your subconscious is going to bring you a positive image right in front of you to replace all that with. Your subconscious mind is going to bring you a positive image. I'm going to count up to 3. And on 3 and go, your subconscious is going to bring you a positive image to replace it all with 1, 2, 3, and go. What's the first thing that comes to mind? What's the image? First impression?
Actually, I don't even seeing an image, it's just whiteness is blank. It's just whiteness.
If an image did come to you, what would it be? Just first impression, a positive image. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
It's quite difficult for me as someone who is not used to do things in terms of therapy.
Yeah.
I would say flower.
Yeah, that's right, a flower. That image of the flower, there's an energy to it. It means something to you. Your subconscious mind brought you that specific flower, that color, that image, the way it looks for a reason. Maybe you understand what it means. Maybe it's within your unconscious mind, but it gave it to you for a reason. So let's use that. And I want you with your mind, just make it bigger, make it more energized, make it more powerful. There's even that energy of the flower and what it means to you. There's an energy to it. If that energy, to all that positive image that you have, if that was a color, what positive color would it be? Just first impression.
A yellow flower in terms of brightness.
Yeah, yellow. Yeah, yellow. Okay. Here's what I want you. I want you to grab all that yellow energy. I want you to grab that yellow color. I want you to grab it with your two hands and pull it down over your head like you're wrapping yourself in a big cozy blanket, like you're being contained within a warm, friendly cocoon of this amazing feeling. And as you do, it just becomes more energized, becomes bigger and brighter. And breathe it in. Breathe that energy into your lungs. And as you breathe that energy into your lungs, it gets into your bloodstream. Your heart then pumps that blood throughout your body to all the places that your blood nourishes. Your skin starts absorbing that energy. So it starts lighting you up inside. You even notice how that image of the flower moves into your chest. As they say in science class, nature abhors a vacuum, meaning they just don't like empty space. So put that image of the flower and all that energy, that positive energy, into the place within your chest that you just cleansed and cleaned. Allow it to merge into the cells of your body, into the very DNA of your body, and make it even stronger, make it even more powerful. Breathe in deeply into your lungs. Even exhale out through your mouth like you're blowing out a candle. Just let it all go. And know that this process is here for you anytime you want it. You can energize this feeling state more and more now. That's right. And when you know you got it, when you know you can never turn off, when you know it can never go back to the way it was, just return to being fully aware, fully alert, open your eyes, and notice how different it all looks and feels now.
Yeah.
Hello. zero to 10. How are you feeling now?
In terms of zero, in terms of calmness, I would say 2 or 3. Because the energy had
that was like maybe 10 minutes. That was maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I don't know. I wasn't counting. But you went from an 8 all the way to a 2, you know? And so that's the kind of work that can be done in just a short amount of time. And whether you want to call that mindset coaching, whether you want to call that therapeutic hypnosis or neuro-linguistic programming or whatever you want to call it. And I'm sure it all blends in together. That's what's possible within your own subconscious mind. Again, I didn't do anything for you. I didn't fix you. You fixed yourself because you're the one who felt where you felt that anxiety. And people point to other places. Some people point to their abdomen. I've had people point to their arms, to the back of the neck, to the front of the head. They point to all sorts of different places where they're feeling that pain and that hurt and that tension, that pressure. But if you can notice where you feel that anxiety or that anger or that hurt, that pain in your body, if you can reveal it, you can heal it. And even just doing these exercises like pulling it out, the reason why this stuff works the way it does is the mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And this is most noticeable when somebody's having a nightmare. So if you ever had this experience or you know somebody who has, it's a scary dream in the middle of the night, and oftentimes it's something ridiculous, like a gigantic pineapple is chasing you down the street, throwing rocks at you. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. Or maybe it's something realistic, like maybe a war veteran having a PTSD dream about the war, even though it's 30 years ago. But you're cozy, you're comfortable, you're safe in bed. The mind can't tell whether that's a real event happening right now or you're safe and cozy in bed. So it kind of does that, shoot first, ask questions later, and it'll turn on your defense mechanism because it wants to defend you from the big, gigantic pineapple. And so it'll turn on your defense mechanism. Your brain will start creating that adrenaline and that cortisol, the neuropeptides, those molecules that send the message of fear and anxiety and anger to your body. 300% more blood now moving to the big muscles of your arms to fight your way out. 300% more blood moving to the big muscles of your legs to escape. You wake up with a scream because your subconscious wants you consciously aware of your surroundings, looking for danger. Your heart is racing, you're sweating to cool down your body, all because a gigantic, pineapple is chasing you down the street, throwing rocks at you. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it literally changed your physiology. So what if in your waking life, You start thinking about that test or that audition or that job interview or asking somebody out on that first date. And the mind starts thinking about, oh, well, what happens if? Well, if I don't pass this test, I'm not going to graduate, or I'm not going to get into the university, or I'm not going to get the job, or I'm not going to be able to start my career. And even though you're not even taking the test, maybe this is a couple of days before, you'll start creating that anxiety within your body. Through thought alone, you can change your physiology, even though it's, a ridiculous thought may be like a pineapple chasing down the street, or something more serious like if I don't pass this test, I'm not going to be able to graduate or get into the university or start the job. Well, what if we used that process of your mind not being able to tell what's real or what's imagined and use that to your benefit? What if you imagined you could feel that anxiety in your body? And what if you could imagine that it's a certain color? So now we're starting to operate on a different part of the brain. Instead of the feeling part of the brain, we're now using the visual part, because now it's a color or maybe a shape. Maybe it's a spiky red ball or a gray cloud or something, a white mist. And then what if you just pretended? You used your imagination to pull it all out. The mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So using physical actions, you're now even supersizing, and your mind thinks, well, we're pulling out all that anxiety. And now we're going to, turn it into a little tiny ball or something and throw it behind you. So now it's behind you. It's not in front of you. It's behind you. It's not in front of you. It's behind you. And it's a metaphor. It's just an analogy. So, but your mind can't tell whether that's real or imagined. Well, he threw it behind him, so it must be behind us now. And that means something. And then, nature abhors a vacuum, as they say. There's all this emptiness within your chest where that anxiety used to be. Let's fill it up with something else. So what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Maybe it's a beautiful waterfall, a beautiful butterfly, family. Maybe it's a beautiful sunset. Maybe it's a flower. Maybe it's a beautiful animal. And whatever that reasoning, your subconscious brought you that image, and maybe you know what it is, maybe it's unclear to you at the moment, but it brought you that for a reason. Use that. This is you healing you. You're doing the work. I'm facilitating, I'm guiding, but you're the one doing the work. And this is where the coaching comes in, really. I'm coaching you to do the healing yourself. I'm not telling you what your anxiety is about. I'm not telling you what color your anxiety is or where you should feel it in your body. You're doing it. I'm coaching you. And you did all the work yourself. You took that anxiety in 10 minutes from an 8 to a 2, just using your imagination and operating your brain in different ways. And there's a lot of healing in talking about the issues of your life. You can get a lot of great insights through that. But sometimes let's get rid of the anxiety so you have a clearer head. Start breathing deeply into your abdomen so you can get that air into the bottom of your lungs. 20% of the oxygen we breathe in goes directly to our brains. So if we can breathe in deeply into our abdomen, get those big belly breaths, so we can get the air into the bottom of our lungs, we can get more oxygen into our system and clear our heads out. Pretend that we're pulling it out, or maybe pretend that the center of the earth has a big vacuum tube up to your feet and it's sucking all that energy out. I mean, you can do that in a classroom. Of course, in a classroom, you're not going to want to be, or a job interview or a meeting or something, you're not going to start pulling out all this anxiety. But what if instead you're in a test, you're doing fine, but all of a sudden all the anxiety hits you. You feel your feet on the floor and you feel the center of the earth. Just imagine the center of the earth, and coming up from the center of the earth is a large vacuum tube, a large vacuum hose. It attaches to the bottom of your feet. And you felt that anxiety in your chest or your abdomen or your neck or your head or your arms, or wherever you're feeling it. And it's a certain color. It's red, it's orange, it's black, it's green, it's white, it's whatever color it is. And then you just start sucking it out to the center of the earth. So let the center of the earth do the work for you. And you can do this while sitting in a classroom, sitting in a meeting, sitting at home, sitting in a car, sitting up in an airplane, 30,000 feet. You can pretend. Now, is it really doing it? No, of course not. Of course, the center of the earth is not sending a vacuum tube up to your feet to suck out all that anxiety. But your mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is imagined. And so it'll change your physiology, just like that nightmare will change your physiology. This will also change your physiology, but for the better. So you can be sitting in a classroom taking a test, or maybe you're at home taking the test on your computer, or again, you're at that meeting or job interview or something. Feel your feet on the floor. Imagine the center of the earth. Imagine the vacuum tube sucking it all out. And this is another great technique to use. And you use it all, and it doesn't even have to be for tests or auditions or job interviews, just life stress. Or the anger, or there's a certain amount of relentlessness to this. And so I can go on and on and on. I know the Joe Rogan experience goes on for 3 hours, but I know this is not what we're doing here today.
I know Joe Rogan never stops.
He goes on and that guy talks forever. And he does that, what, like 5 days a week? A 3-hour podcast 5 days a week? Talk about inferiority complex. Oh, I do a podcast on test anxiety. It's only 10 minutes, maybe once a week.
That's very powerful. And what we just did was very, I want to say that it was very powerful. And as much as something new to me, it's a new experience that I wouldn't mind doing it again in a way whenever I feel anxious. And as much as the moment that I did it, it felt weird in a way, in the cultural perspective, but the end results did benefit me in a way. But hopefully, on the other side, the audience gets something from this conversation, from this.
Well, and what I say is now you have it recorded. You can play it over. I mean, seriously, you could do this every day. I mean, that was only something like 10 minutes or so. And everybody listening, you know where it started and you kind of know where it ends. But if you just queue up the recording, this interview to that point, and maybe it's started at the 20-minute point or something. I wasn't watching, but cue it up to that point and just listen to it over and over again. You now have a great, and eventually you get to the point where you won't maybe even want to listen to the recording. You can just do it on your own without my narration. You know how to do it. Feel it in your body. What color is it? Pull it out, make it smaller, change the shape of it, change the color of it, put it, because now you're changing it. It was orange, it was red. You pull it out. Now it's white, it's green, it's blue, and make it smaller, change the shape of it. You're changing it. Put it behind you. Now what do you want instead? And maybe it's the same image, or maybe different images come to you, or a feeling state, or a color. What's the color of success? What's the color of joy? What's the color of happiness? What's the color of confidence? Maybe it's gold, or maybe it's bright blue or bright green. I don't know. Pull that into your system as well and let it soak throughout your entire body. It's not difficult. It's just you got to do it. Like anything. Again, it's like the greatest secret. That record that came out in the 1950s. You become what you think about most of the time. So if you're thinking about how you won't make do well on the test, or you won't do well at the job interview, or you won't the people you want to ask out on a date aren't going to like you. That's going to impact your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-confidence. But what if you're thinking, I'm going to ace the test? Yeah, I've studied. I got a study group. I have a tutor. I know this information backwards and forwards. I'm going to do great on the test. It's going to be easy. I've practiced this test over and over and over. And that's a big part of test anxiety, people not feeling prepared. So prepare. The test is coming up, practice a couple hours a day if necessary, because fear is really just a warning signal that maybe you're not prepared for the test. The fear around taking the test. And so again, do you need a study group? Do you need to get some people that are in the class with you together to go over the material? Do you need a tutor? Do you need just, a study guide to, and then every day you go over a different part of what's going to be on the test? There's lots of ways of doing it, but just walking in feeling prepared is going to be deal a lot with that anxiety.
I'm saying that as much as you said that the podcast can go hours and hours. It's okay that I have to end it here, and I really appreciate the conversation that we had at first in terms of limiting beliefs, the mindset coaching and hypnotherapy, and also applying that hypnotherapy or mindset coaching. I didn't get at least in a way. Just a quick question: was it hypnotherapy or mindset therapy? Mindset coaching, was it?
Yeah. Again, it's all of it. It's kind of this weird thing where it's like there's a little bit of talk therapy in there. There's some hypnotherapy because you're relaxing the body. There's neuro-linguistic programming. If you'd probably call that anything, you'd probably call that NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. But there's also some mind coaching. I mean, you could also go to if we had longer amount of time, you could say, okay, now I want you to see yourself in the future, taking that test with confidence, and now wiring that aspect into yourself. And that's another great tip. Again, whether you're taking a test or it's an audition or a job interview or a first date or giving a presentation or a speech, see yourself, imagine yourself being successful, getting a standing ovation for the speech you're giving, or getting an A+ on the test. And what does that feel like to get that A+ on the test? And now you're wiring that into your head. What you think about most is what you become. And so then you're going to become more and more confident. Literally wire it into your brain. This is what athletes do, is they see themselves winning their event, or if they're doing like gymnastics or something like that, it's a solo, they see themselves getting the 10 out of 10. They see themselves successfully doing the dismount off the parallel bars if they're doing gymnastics, see themselves crossing the finish line first. They're wiring that success into their body and into their brains just by imagining it. So imagine yourself doing well in the test. Imagine yourself comfortably with peace and ease and relaxation taking a test in a calm manner. And I'll start wiring that into your system. You know, the greatest secret, world's greatest secret, what you think about the most, you become. And so what if you thought you were awesome and that you had all the confidence in the world to ace the test or get the job or get into the university or ask that person out on a date or whatever it is, start that business, you know, and that doesn't mean that it gets rid of all the challenges of life, but at least allows you to come to those challenges in a more resilient way and a more resourceful.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much. Again,
you're welcome. It was fun talking with you. I really appreciate the invitation to be on your show.
I really appreciate the time that we had in terms of going deeper into hypnotherapy and also mindset coaching. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.